So, distance time graphs are questions where students do tend to struggle a bit, and it's because conceptually they don't quite understand what's going on. So, I've got a distance time graph laid out for us over here, and let's go through it step by step so that we really understand what we're doing, and we'll solve some questions on this graph over here. So, the first thing we're going to look at with this distance time graph is actually what are we showing? Well, essentially, it's just a plot, okay? So, here basically you can imagine we've got lots of different points which we've plotted onto our line or onto our graph, and then we've drawn the line to connect all these plots together. And that's all we're doing. So if you've ever drawn any graphs before, it's basically the same thing. So the way that I'm going to describe it is, let's say we have a ball over here, and this ball is traveling in a straight line over some time, let's say 120 seconds. Then what you can do is at regular intervals, you can get your stopwatch out, you can time it at 10 seconds, how far has it gone? Oh, it's gone 10 meters. Then you time it at 20 seconds, how far has it gone now? Oh, it's gone 20 meters, for example. Maybe it's gone 30 meters in the next one. Maybe it's gone 60 meters in the next 10-second interval. And you basically go through it and you measure out how far it's gone at each time interval, okay? And if you do that, you can basically create a nice table. And so let's actually work backwards here, right? So here we've got something that's been plotted on our graph already. By using this graph, we should be able to take it back to its original numbers if you were actually going back to the experiment. How do we actually draw this graph in the first place? So the first thing I can do is go, okay, at 10 seconds, how far along was the ball? Well, okay, it was over here. And I can go across and read this value of my axis. And I've got distance on the y-axis, that's all labeled. It's between 10 and 20, so you know that this is 15. And you can see the units up here. I've put it in as meters. Okay, great. So now if we were to draw a table up, then what I do is I put the distance. And then I make a table like this. And over here would be distance, and over here would be the time. And actually, I'm going to flip it around because generally you'd have it the other way. Okay, perfect. So at 10 seconds, we know that the distance was 15 meters. And you can see basically you can go along and do the same thing for all of these, right? So at 20 seconds, how far along was it? It was also 15 meters. So we can write that down. At 20 seconds, it was 15 meters. And essentially, that's what we've done, right? And now it might not be the exact measurements that we took, but that's how you would do it. So we've gone in reverse there. But in actuality, you could draw this whole table out if you were recording this in an experiment, and then take these values, put it on, and draw a line like this. That's all we're trying to say. Okay, so now we've got our distance time graph. So what can we do with our distance time graph? It's quite interesting to see our line plotted out. But what is even more interesting is we can actually use something called the gradient of our line to work out the speed. So hopefully you're all familiar with the equation for speed. So speed is equal to the distance divided by time, okay? And you can even put the standard units for all of these on. So speed is going to be in meters per second, distance is in meters, and time is in seconds. And therefore, you can kind of see how we got the units, right? Because meters over seconds is going to give you meters per second. So that's our general formula. And so what we can see here is that the gradient would give us a formula very, very similar to what we have for speed. So if you were to work out the gradient, so let's go ahead and actually look at the gradient. So the gradient essentially is just the curve, is just the steepness of the line, right? That's all it is. So if we take this first step here, so I'm going to split this up into several sections. So this first section I'm going to call section A, and I'll put it in a different color so we know that this is section A. So for section A, we can work out the gradient, right? So what we do is we work out the difference in y, and we divide it by the difference in x. And y and x refer to our axes over here. So the difference in y and a, basically we're going to say this is 0. So 0 up to 15. So you can do 15 minus 0 to get the difference. And then the difference in x was also, we're going to say this is 0, and this was 10. So we do 10 minus 0. So the gradient is just going to be 15 over 10. Which is basically 1.5. Okay, so this gives our gradient. And because we know already that the gradient basically is the same as the distance over time, because essentially what we've done here is the difference in the distance divided by the difference in the time. And therefore, basically, this gives us the speed, right? Just like our equation over here. So when we worked out 1.5 over here, we can actually put some units on this because we know that this is the speed. So this is 1.5 meters per second. Because our distance on the y-axis was in meters, and our time on the x-axis was in seconds. Okay, so that's how we can use the gradient to work out the speed. Now you can see here that the gradient is not going to be the same because the steepness of the line changes, right? So in section A, we've got a line with certain steepness. We can call this straight section section B, and this section when it goes steep again is section C, and then this section where the gradient changes again, we're going to call section D. You can see all of these has a different gradient. So let's take a look at section B now. So I'm just going to make some space. Now section B is quite an interesting one because let's go ahead and try to work out the gradient. Now even though it's a flat line, we can still write out the gradient. So the gradient would be the difference in the y-axis. So that is just going to be 0 because the y-axis doesn't change. It stays at the same point the whole time, stays at 50 meters the whole time. And we divide it by the difference in time. And in this case, it doesn't actually matter what the difference in time is because 0 divided by anything is just going to give you 0 meters per second, right? Because we know it's the speed. So if it's 0 meters per second, what does that mean? Well, that means that the ball or whatever we draw out was stationary at this point. It wasn't moving. And we can kind of tell that because it stayed at 15 meters the whole time. That means the speed is 0 because it's not moving and it's basically staying in the same spot, right? So whenever you see a straight horizontal line like this, that basically means that our object is staying still. That's what it means. Okay, great. Let's move on to section C then. So let's again make a bit of space. So section C, we're going to do a very, very similar exercise. But if you remember, our gradient in section A was 1.5, and I'll write it backwards so we don't forget. So now let's work out the gradient in section C. So section C, you can see that we have a difference in time of 5 seconds, because each box is worth 5. And our difference in the distance, we went from 15 meters all the way up here, and this is actually 40 meters, right? So you could go across and draw on, and you can see that's 40. So if you want to work out the gradient, we'd do 40 minus 15 to get the difference in the y-axis. And then our difference in the x-axis, we could go and read it off here, basically be 40 minus 35, which we already said was 5, okay? So if you put that in, then you should get 30 over 5, and that's going to give you a gradient of 6. And the gradient is 6, and we can also relate this directly back to a property, and that's going to be 6 meters per second, right? Because it's the speed of our object. So here the speed was 6 meters per second, and down here it was only 1.5 meters per second. And you can see how that's reflected. Here the gradient was a lot less steep. In fact, it was actually 4 times less steep than over here, right? So A compared to C, whenever the gradient is a lot steeper and a lot larger, that means the speed is larger, okay? So when it's going faster, you're going to get a steeper gradient for your distance time graph. That's another fact that you should be aware of. And so looking at D, then we can intuitively recognize, right? D is a lot less steep, right? So what that's telling us is that at point D, the speed was a lot less than at point C. Now I won't work out D for you. I'll leave that for you guys to have a go out. But you should be able to, when you work out the gradient for D, you should see it's a lot less than both C and A. And you can see that because the distance covered is a certain amount, but it's done over a much longer period of time. Okay, so I'll leave that as an exercise for you to complete. Okay, so that was quite a simple example. So now we're going to move on to something slightly more complex. So here we don't just have straight lines. So in our previous example, we just had a bunch of straight lines, and I just told you, right, how to work out the gradient of straight lines. Really simple. You can just work out the difference in y and the difference in x. Now, on the higher tier, you might get questions like this, where you have essentially a curve, right? So now your line is not straight. How do you work out the gradient of a curved line, right? Because if you were to just do the difference in y over the difference in x, which is basically this, then the problem that you have over here is you're working out the gradient, but you're pretending your line is straight. So basically you're pretending that your line looks like this. But you can see both of those are very, very different, right? That line is very different to the curve that we found over here. And basically, whenever you have a curve, what that's telling you is that the gradient is continually changing. So the gradient at this point is different to, for example, the gradient at this point, is different to the gradient at this point, is different to the gradient in the middle over here, right? The gradient is continually changing. So how do you actually go ahead and work out what the gradient of the line would be then? You're not able to use your old trick of just basically drawing a triangle like we did over here. So what do you do instead? Well, what you can do is actually use something called a tangent. So essentially, what we'd say over here is that we wouldn't be working out the gradient for the whole curve. We wouldn't be able to have one value for the gradient, right? Because the gradient is always changing. So if you wanted to work out the speed, for example, at 30 seconds, that's over here, so we'll mark it on. So you want to work out the gradient, what we do is you draw a tangent to this curve. Now, if you guys are familiar with tangents, we'll just quickly go over it now. So essentially, we can draw out a circle. So draw a circle like this. And a tangent to a circle is basically a line that comes along, it just touches the circumference of the circle, and then it goes away. So let's pretend this line is straight. I know my lines are not exactly straight, but essentially what we can see is over here, we're saying that it just touches, and then it goes away. So that's what a tangent to the circle is. And the point is that depending on what point we draw the tangent, it will always look different, right? So we just want a line that will just touch the circle and go away. But depending on where we choose to touch the circle, our line will look different. It will be a slightly different angle. And to demonstrate that, let's draw one like this, like we just did. And then I'll go ahead and draw another one. We choose a slightly different point on the circle. You can see they're completely different lines because they're both tangents to the circle, but at different points. So the same way we can draw tangents to our curve, right? So if you imagine our curve is basically just one huge circle, we could also draw tangents to the circle. This time I'll try and do it a little bit straighter. So if you want to draw a tangent to the line at 30 seconds, then we draw a line like this, which just touches at 30 seconds, okay? And then what we do here, now we have a nice straight line. What we can do is we can do our triangle trick. So we can extend this tangent out however much we want. Because it's a straight line now, the gradient is going to be constant and consistent, and we can work it out, okay? So you could go ahead and work out what this gradient will be. So let's do it together, right? So what we want to do is take from this point up to this point, okay? So the difference in y is going to be, well, up here it's about 25, right? So you can read off the coordinates there. So 25 minus whatever it was down here. So here it's probably a little bit less than 5. So let's say like 3. And the numbers will be easier in your exam. They'll give you nice numbers and it will be really clear from the graph. And I'm just going to make a bit of space. So that's the difference in y, and we want to divide this by the difference in x, right? Because we're trying to work out the gradient. So this is the same thing. We still want the gradient, but the point is that we can only do it at one instance on our line when it's a curve, right? Because the gradient is always going to be changing, so we won't be able to give a gradient for the whole thing. We just have to work out for one point. So at 30 seconds, what would the speed be? Well, then we can work out the difference in x. So it comes to about here. So let's say that's about 48. And from 48, we can work out the x coordinate over here, which is going to be about 15. So we'll say 16, just past 15, okay? And you can plug that in, and you should get 25 minus 3 is going to be 22. And divided by 48 minus 16, which is going to give you 32. And you can put that in your calculator to work out what the exact gradient would be. But that's just an example of how we would work out the gradient on a curve, right? So it's a nice tangent that just touches the point you're interested in, and you can work out the gradient there. And if you were to draw the tangent at a different point, for example 20 seconds, it would look completely different. And so I'll just show you very quickly what that would look like. So if you were to draw tangent in a different color, and it just wants to touch the point at 20 seconds, then at 20 seconds, it would just touch there, right? So that is how you draw your tangent at 20 seconds. Okay, so essentially that's how you work it out when it's on a curve like that. And what it actually means though, what does it actually mean? So you worked out that the gradient is changing, but this tells us that the speed is changing, right? Because the gradient means the speed. So whenever you see a curve like this, that means you have changing speed. So that's really important, because when you have in a question and it's asking you to draw a distance time graph, and it said that the person speeds up or slows down or whatever, if the speed is changing, you're going to have a curve, okay? Now over here, we have basically a straight line again. So what's happened here? That means he's gone from changing speed to a constant speed, okay? So whenever you have a straight line, that means the speed is constant. So that's what we saw above. In our example, the speed was always constant, and when it changed basically instantly. There wasn't a process of it changing. So over here, even though you can see that the speed was different from, let's say, A to B to C, the change was instant, right? So you just have these sharp corners over here. So that means basically there was no, you don't have a curve, and whenever you have a change in speed, you call that acceleration. So here, we don't really have acceleration to worry about. Over here, when we have a curve like this, because it's a changing speed, that means that we have acceleration. And we'll go through acceleration and speed time graphs in the next video. So do click that. Okay, we'll leave it there. Apart from that, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.